Happy Thanksgiving. Pleasure to be here today on November 27th for our ICC boot camp. I would suggest that a lot of our folks today are celebrating Thanksgiving in the United States. And Yahweh's blessings be upon you and yours for this Thanksgiving Day. We certainly have a lot to be thankful for. We'll be underway in just 1 minute. And we'll record this, of course. They're back to the system that hopefully can show screens. So we're going to try that again today. And that way you don't have to see me as a talking head for half an hour or an hour, however long this takes. We've got 3 major topics we're going to cover today, and they're all on the website already. You've probably already read them, but I want to go over them again. They're so powerful. We're at a turning point in the Internet Catalog Club. Where we head for December through to 2015 is going to be absolutely amazing. And you're going to see that in today's webinar. We're also going to be reintroducing My Fuel Club next week. I haven't got the exact date because I've got to do some upgrades to the website, but the website is back up and operational thanks to some membership help. And we've got a lot of new things that we'll be adding to that. And at the end of our presentation today, we're going to be talking about a new opportunity. And I'm not going to be going into great detail. I'm just going to say it's available for those of you that want to become involved. Get back to the person who invited you to the Internet Catalog Club or My Fuel Club and get the information from them. Or get it from me and then go back to your sponsor and say, hey, I want to do this. Let's do it together and let's maintain our line of sponsorship. And so I think that's important. It does have a pretty stringent set of policies and procedures that I don't want to malign. So we're going to do our best to not do that. So that's why I'll say very little about the company. I'll give you an overview, but I'm not going to tell you what the company is. And you won't know what it is anyway, because you've probably never heard of it before. I'd never heard of it before this week. And we've been blessed to have one of our Australian members, Warren, send the information to me. And I took a day and spent some time reviewing all the information that's available. And it's, wow, fantastic. That's the key word, wow. Anyway, let's get started and let's get on our way to sharing some good information with you. And then we'll see if we can do a screen share. All right. Now that's interesting. Screen share. Okay. Start screen share. There we go. Present to everyone. Financial Hope. Okay. So if you cannot see this right now and you're on the webinar, then go to the new link on the left-hand toolbar on the legacyassurance.net Financial Hope site where it says Exchange Zcash. We're here. We've got several wonderful things happening, and that's what we're going to discuss. So below, you're going to read several different ways to understand digital currency and the options you have to work with us to make USD bank deposit funds your reality. And this is your business, and it's your opportunity, so it's your reality. You got to do it. You will see additional links at the bottom of the page to further enlighten you, and please contact me as soon as possible to let me know what your plans are to make this work for you. So that's an email, obviously, that's gone out to many of the, well, all of the My Fuel Club members, and it's relevant here at ICC if you're not a My Fuel Club member. Now, this is really a great parallel. If you have Chinese money, you can only use it in China. To exchange Chinese money for USD bank deposit funds, you must do it through a process of buying and selling approved items. Amazing. It's the same here with the Internet Catalog Club. Zcash is USD, lawful USA currency, but may only be used within the confines of the business social network known as the Internet Catalog Club. It may be exchanged for USD bank deposit funds only through buying and selling approved items, the exact same way that it was done in China and Russia. Wow, and we've got some good details coming up further in the email, but just keep that as a parallel. We're not doing anything that's different. This is called commerce. Commerce through capitalism. And in both instances, most commercial products qualify, and certainly financial instruments such as US Treasuries qualify. So there's three basic ways that we're going to review right now. Number one is the promotion of business using the LHP products offered by certain vendors, provide the USD bank deposit funds as income to the vendors that the vendors are willing to exchange for Zcash or chips, thus creating a Zcash and chips exchange that is available to any member of the Internet Catalog Club. So LHP products, you buy them, you sell them, and you, as a sponsor, can receive 25% of the value of the LHP purchased in exchange for Zcash or chips. So $2,000 is the minimum. So that means $500 would be available for an exchange of your Zcash and chips. And that also allows you to do the same with BVK. So you can get Zcash on credit. There's several ways of getting Zcash. The best way to get Zcash is to join My Fuel Club. And My Fuel Club is paying Zcash, and it doubles up, and there's all kinds of bonuses. Wait till you see what's going to happen for My Fuel Club next week. Anyway, number two says establishing a Zcash and chips exchange facility by promoting the concept of using funds as a facilitator is another means of creating a flow of income through the buying and selling of US Treasuries that provides the ability to the promoter to exchange Zcash and chips for USD bank deposit funds. And I was talking with a wonderful lady today that says, this is what I want to become. I want to become a facilitator. I want to be able to have this Zcash chips and exchange facility and do it for people that can't do it for themselves. And so, yes, there's a huge opportunity there, which we'll go into a little more detail down the page. Number three, promoting the contracting of parties to place documentary funds guaranteed payable by the bank FIDES as the basis for buying and selling US Treasuries to work through a facilitator that's already contracted as a wealth management group is another way to establish a flow of income to exchange Zcash and chips for USD bank deposit funds. And we have Cerise that has brought to us a financial institution or a group of financial institutions that are working in that direction. And Eddie's got one out of Mexico that's doing the same for Bright Star Work Center. And so that's really exciting that we've got some folks that are actually doing that. And speaking of that, we have some updated news that the wealth management group out of the Pakistan has effectively put together the WAPN and IBO combo and has received an SKR, and that SKR should have been received either Wednesday or tomorrow to be put to trade. So that's really exciting. She's done a great job in moving forward with the wealth management group, and she's next off to Spain to do the same with a financial institution in Spain. So we're starting to see banks outside of the United States moving forward, and you'll see at the end of this particular page a new way we're trying to motivate financial institutions to join with us. So these three methods are the foundation for any other means of exchange that may be formulated through business arrangements. So using these concepts to build Zcash and chips exchange facilities to serve others is in and of itself a great business opportunity. Wow, just think of the thousands of people that have BVK and the thousands of people that have Zcash and chips, and they would just love to be able to come and find an exchange facility where they could exchange it. Now, that's pretty darn exciting, and that's a business in itself. Taking in Zcash and exchanging for USD bank deposit funds provides to others offers 100% profit because of the chips that can be accrued. So if you're too lazy to do it for yourself, you bring it to the Zcash and chips exchange facility. You say, here, I've got Zcash, and so you turn your Zcash in for USD, and they get to keep the chips, which is 100% of whatever you traded in for the exchange. So if you traded in 100,000 Zcash, that gives them 200,000 chips, or $200,000 for getting you 200,000 USD. not too shabby. I don't know of a business out there that will give you 100% return. And really, once you've got the system set up, there's virtually no overhead to keeping it going. It's all set up by the financial institutions, and so your overhead is minimal. So it's very much like the story of the two shoe salesmen sent early last century to Africa. One sent back the message, "This is horrible. Nobody here uses shoes. There's no market here for this." The other one sent back a message, "This is wonderful. No one here has shoes. What a huge market. Everybody will want to have shoes." And sure enough, everybody does want to have shoes. Now, I'm still amazed here in the Dominican Republic that I will see very, very poor people walking the streets with no shoes. And I got to tell you, these streets are really dangerous. And there's a lot of glass, and they're uneven. And I just cringe when I see somebody with no shoes. I want to go get them some shoes. So there's all kinds of things we can do to help people, that's for sure. So the opportunity to set up Zcash and chips exchange facilities to exchange one's own Zcash can be used to serve others that don't want to expend the time and effort, can represent a major business opportunity. Hopefully, these are some thoughts that can be helpful to you. So that was a Skype that was sent to me by Mr. B, and I quickly cleaned it up and popped it on the site. And then he came back the next day on the 21st, and wow, this is phenomenal. Eddie was on a call with me. He called in, we added him to the call, and he just went on for an hour and gave us all this great information. So I want to make sure you really understand the power of what you have before you right now. And this really explains marketing. It explains the marketplace, the demand. And so let's get into it. What the ICC has been doing since its inception, since 1996, is to create a marketplace and a pent-up demand. Obviously, it hasn't been fulfilled yet, but there's a lot of people out there. In fact, we have over 10 million members in the database of the Internet Catalog Club. Where are they all? Well, you know, they all fell by the wayside. They were promised things that they shouldn't have been promised. I know a good chunk of those members came on board for the $500 a week program that one of the other work centers put together, and obviously that didn't come together. But there is an alternative to that. So right now there are thousands of people, thousands of members who have joined us over the last few years that have accounts with the International Bank of Niuecomish since 2009, with lots of BVK. I know multimillionaires, billionaires, and in some cases some trillionaires that I personally brought to the International Bank of Niuecomish. And I won't say that they don't have a clue, but 99% of the people out there don't have a clue of what to do with BVK. And if we go back to that first statement about doing business with China, the same thing could be done with BVK, and people are doing that. There was a story that I had to edit out here because it's not for public knowledge just yet, but there is a group out there that are using BVK to back their own international bill of exchange. Go figure. I mean, there's some smart people out there. So if you offer those people a means to use their BVK, chances are they're going to want to do business with you. Don't you agree? Also, when you've done, Gary, what within the Fuel Club by providing payment in full to over 300 members and given them an additional gift of Zcash, is exactly the same thing. Now, I had expected to pay out, once the club was fully funded, $9 million. Well, I just paid out $1 million to over 300 members. That's $328 million in USD. Obviously, half of that is Zcash, but you really got to double that to $600 million. Now, what business in less than a year has paid out $600 million? Well, the thing is you got to go get it. It's there to be taken. So the reason why people don't have a clue of how to do anything with BVK or Zcash has really nothing to do with BVK or Zcash itself. It has to do with the fact that most people don't have a clue of how to use money, period. I mean, I didn't know until this conversation. I mean, I knew that we bought stuff cheap and we sold it at a higher price when I was in the music business, and I did okay. Um, but I didn't know a lot of these other types of businesses out there. So let's take a serious look at some of these things. We're all used to doing things in a very linear fashion without understanding that there's really a wide variety of ways that we can accomplish our objectives. Here's some parallels that Ben gave me. The typical business model that most companies follow is they're going to buy something at a low cost and sell it at a higher cost, and the difference makes the profit. But here's a company called Amazon.com. We've all heard of it. Many years developed a different business model. It says, we're going to buy at a higher price and sell at a lower price. You know, I lived in Canada for a number of years, and we always made jokes about the province of Newfoundland or Newfoundland or Newfies, as they were called. And, you know, we would always say that always, if you were ever going to have a Newfie sod your lawn, you'd always have to tell them to go green side up. I mean, it's one of those things that here's a business model where we're going to make it up in volume. Well, you can't make it up in volume. If you're buying at a higher price and selling at a lower, you just can't make it up in volume. All right? You're going to lose money. But how come they keep growing every year? Well, they go buy the products and hand it to the people who bought the product. But what they do is they take that money and they put it into trade. And it's the trades that have made them successful, and it allows them to sell cheaper than anybody else. So think about that. Isn't that what we're already doing? I mean, when you use Zcash, it doubles your money. Do you know who Cisco is? Well, yeah, Cisco Kid. Well, I said it's something to do with computer hardware or software. That's all I knew. And then Eddie spoke up and says, well, they're the premier company for routers and switches that makes the internet work. Big players, huge. That's one of the businesses that Eddie was very busy in his earlier years. Cisco many years ago actually took some information from one of our playbooks. This is Ben talking. And they applied it, and they became, at the time, within a 2 to 3 year period, one of the most powerful companies in the world. You know what they did? Nope. What they did was they sent out to potential distributors of their product a message that said that for every dollar of capital that the distributor could bring into their company, Cisco, every dollar of capitalization that they could show, they would provide them $5 of credit to buy Cisco products for resale. That meant that every distributor in the world wanted to become a Cisco distributor. Because if I bring you $100, you're going to give me $500 in product that I can go double my money on. Isn't that what we're doing with LHP, I should say? Wow. Actually, we're doing a better job with LHP than what they did. But what the truth is, what was really going on is that Cisco would spend 10 cents to provide 50-cent line of credit to the vendor, who would then go sell it for $1. So I said, huh? We're talking, you know, $5, and now we're down to 10 cents. So I said, can you explain it a little more detail? Well, if you got $1 on deposit that's in your capital base, and I give you $5 worth of credit, and I'm going to give you a product that I'm going to sell to you for $5, and you can turn around and sell it for $10, but that product only costs me $1, you've got $1 on account that can pay me with. What's my risk? So, you know, they were literally saying the wholesale cost is $5, but if you'll bring $1, I'll give it to you, that $5 product at wholesale for $1. You go sell it for 10. Boom! Everybody wanted to become a distributor. Eddie said that most of their products are software and circuit boards made out of silicon. Isn't that interesting? Their cost is in the engineering, the human factor, and I got factor spelt wrong there. So anyway, there are many different business models you can see. Look at, here's another one, Google. I mean, we've got Google search engines, we've got Google Mail, we've got this system we're on right now, which is hooked into Google. Are they a successful company? Wow, of course they are. The amazing thing is they give us all these products for free. How can they be successful for doing that? Eddie shouts right out, advertising. Right. Because they get their income through advertising. They're not getting their income through you. And that's why we want to be actively providing opportunities with the walking billboard advertising. It's huge profitability advertising. And so they get their income through all of those companies that advertise through Google to get to you and me. You allow them to do that through their products that you use for free. I mean, how many ads do you see when you go on to Google search engines and all that kind of stuff? And do you read them? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Most of the time you probably don't. But the fact is people pay to have it put there. And that's how they make their money. So when we come along to our situation, bottom line is no matter what we may have started out with, we've wound up with an enormous demand that's been created by people receiving BVK and Zcash. And these people have valuable currencies and would like to know how to do something with them. Don't you agree? So yes, we've all got BVK. I've got gazillions of it. And I've got gazillions now of Zcash and chips. I got 1.5 billion in chips and half of that in Zcash in just one account. That's huge. When I say that we're set to fund My Fuel Club forever, I mean it. I mean, we've got gazillions created for My Fuel Club. That doesn't mean that we're going to change the rules and you don't get to have your own fuel club if you want one. But the point is that nobody can ever say that we can't fulfill and look after the fuel vouchers and fuel rebates. We've already paid for fuel vouchers and fuel rebates for 300 people. 300 million has been paid out. What company on planet Earth's done that in less than a year? None. Well, I can't use my Zcash. Sure you can. You just got to work. Do the work. I mean, what's $1 million take to get? If you can learn how to get your $1 million in Zcash converted this year, I'm talking December, January, February, March, there's no better business opportunity on planet Earth. And what did it cost to get started? I guess the most anybody ever spent was $5,500 to get $1 million. Now, I would like people to fulfill their obligations and sponsor the number of people required for their membership level. And I would like you to send in your fuel voucher receipts so that we can keep track of all that, so that if we're ever audited by an alphabet agency, that we can say, yes, we've fulfilled, and here's the invoices to prove that we've received the funds, and the rest was a gift. We just gave our people a gift for sticking with us, hanging around. So, well, out of that whole group of My Fuel Club membership, you'll find that some will catch the vision. And that's why we put all this out there. I know 90% of the people that got these emails are sitting there cross-eyed saying, wow, I can't handle all this information. This is way too much information. I've even had a couple of people write and complain to me it was too much information. Yet I've had some people contact me. I had a call this morning at 5 o'clock my time this morning with a very enthusiastic member from Australia saying, I'm in. I want to do this. So that's who we were looking for. You know, we just need to find the people that want to do it. And then we're going to teach them how to present the opportunity to others. Then they can go out and put things together just like this entity did. Well, that entity, I had to pull out that section and I just realized that's still in there. So there was an entity that was using BVK, as I say, to back an international bill of exchange. Awesome. It's relatively easy to put together today compared to what it used to be. Well, it sure is. Boy, I've been on this journey with Eddie for, well, 2009, 2008 actually is when we first got our first look at ICC. And it's been an arduous journey to say the least. But would I do anything else? Not full time. Will I do other things? I believe in multiple streams of income. That's why I love My Fuel Club. That's why I'm really excited about this opportunity I'm going to share with you. That's why I did, and thanks to you. I have nothing against having multiple streams of income. Now, nobody's going to want to do what's needed to do, but after we went to the U.S. Treasury, set up that direct with them, and all the other things that have been done recently, the banks we have contracts with now, it's getting much easier to make all this happen. When you read the last part of this thing, you're going to see how easy it's going to be in the new year. Really, really, I think we've hit on what was missing. Now, if you'll go to the link, 16 different ways to work towards exchanging your Zcash. Obviously, that was the open letters to senders. And great link there. So you can read about it. Now, entities are trying to find ways to work with us. We're actually getting people coming to us now saying, we want to use your protocols. So there are people out there. We've got to do our job and make sure that they're aware that they have a choice. Because what we're doing and the method we are using is a legitimate commerce method. You know, we didn't invent this concept. We've been working towards this end. And in 2009, Ben said he had received Ficketti's article. I had seen it before, and this clearly outlined what needed to be done to create the missing link, and that was clearing, and that was what we were missing. So we went out and created the clearing for international bills of exchange and promissory notes, and you can read all about it in the must-read article. And we've got to go back to real bills, gold-backed system, which we've got BVK, which is gold-backed. We have other currencies which are gold-backed. We have gold. We have silver, we've got oil. All of the currencies that we're dealing with, BVK and Zcash, are asset-backed currencies. Now, chips are not currencies in our mindset. They certainly are currencies now that they've been legitimized as a digital currency, but they were more like air miles. Okay, it was a bonus. Well, the government made those changes and made Zcash and chips legal USA lawful tenders. So, wow. So we've been helped along the way by those circumstances, and nobody ever thought that Zcash and chips would become lawful currency of the USA, but they are now. Bottom line is we have 300 plus members in MyFuel Club who now have 500,000 in Zcash worth 1 million USD when exchanged. So if any one of those members wants to take the bull by the horns and learn to do it themselves, they can, and they can get their 1 million in a timely manner. Now, if you don't want to do it, you can't do it, that's okay. There'll be exchange platforms for you to be able to do it. So the key is, just like all the examples we've gone through previously, you have to go and promote some business. So those of you that don't want to learn how to do this, continue to promote MyFuel Club. Continue to get yourself involved in the educational journey. Now, this is really important information, this next paragraph, because it really gives people what it is happened to allow this all to occur, and what happened here can happen for you and I. It's just like when Nixon was president. He arranged business deals with both Russia and China when no one else had ever done this. Nobody had ever worked with China and Russia. I mean, after the Second World War, they were the enemy. They were communists. Terrible communists have now become the most, I guess, furtive capitalists on the planet. I mean, it's just amazing the flip around. So how did he do this? What did Nixon do? Well, he cut a deal with Pepsi-Cola, and we'll ship the Pepsi to Russia because they love American stuff, and we'll ship the Pepsi poison to Russia, and then Russia would ship vodka to the US. Well, wait a second, who's going to pay for this stuff? Well, the Russians would take the Pepsi and sell it for rubles. So they set up a distribution network for Pepsi in Russia, and Pepsi then had a home office there, and they sold the Pepsi for rubles, and they paid for the vodka, and they put a profit in their pocket. Simple as that. And the Americans would take the vodka and sell it for USD and pay for Pepsi and put the profit in their pocket. He then went to China and did exactly the same thing with Chinese rice beer, and that's how commerce between Russia and China and the rest of the world began to happen. And that's basically since 1970, 1971. And it's never stopped. What have you got in your house that isn't Chinese? Tell me that didn't work. Now, it did take some time, 40 years. It's not going to take 40 years for us to dominate the world, like I know we will, if we all get to work. But we've got a far superior system than what's out there. So that's the real way business was done in both Russia and China. And to this day, you still can't take the Chinese renminbi currency out of China. Now, it's going to be one of the 4 or 5 world currencies. The US dollar will no longer have dominance in the world. We'll see probably the ruble, the renminbi, the yuan, the Iraqi dinar. Speaking of the Iraqi dinar, they're saying that Monday or Tuesday should start to exchange. It's going very well. So That's another exciting thing that's happening with the worldwide currency. The Treasury Reserve notes are supposed to be ready to roll, and the electronic TRNs are happening. So there's lots of great things happening. We got a lot to be thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving. Now you can do all the business you want in China with renminbi. You just can't take it out of China. The only way you can get your wealth out of China is for you to buy something in China, and then you take it somewhere else and sell it. That's why we got so much Chinese stuff everywhere. I mean, here in the Dominican Republic, same thing. Chinese cars, Chinese trucks, Chinese buses. Wow. You know, I didn't know they manufactured so many. There's at least 15 different little Chinese trucks and Chinese motorcycles. Wow. So that's how they're getting their money out. That's how they become the now world's biggest economy, surpassed the United States. The only way you can get your wealth out of China is for you to buy something in China, you sell it someplace else. The only way you can get your wealth out of China is you buy something in China and you sell it someplace else. The only way you can get your wealth out of BVK and Zcash is to buy something in the club and then you sell it someplace else, like LHP, like advertising privileges. So this is the business model that's proven to be very successful. What can't you buy in the stores today that's not made in China? Okay, so now we've come along and we have the MyFuel Club member who has some Zcash from the Internet Catalog Club, and you want to exchange that for Australian dollars. Well, you've got to promote somebody buying something that as a result of them buying that something, the vendor is willing to give you Australian dollars in exchange for your Zcash. Does that make sense? It's exactly what China has done. It's exactly what Russia has done. And it's exactly what we need to be doing and have done. I mean, Gary and Eddie have stayed alive since 2009, full time. It's been tough because everybody forgot that we have to buy and sell stuff to make profit. This past 6 months has been really, really hard because everybody says, well, I'm not going to do anything until I can see I can get my exchanges done. Well, that's like saying I'm not going to open the doors to my store until I see customers show up. Well, you got to have your doors open and you got to advertise and you got to promote. And if you're not doing that, we're starving. That's why Gary and Eddie said, well, we're going to do it without you. And we did. And we're still surviving. It's been tough, but we're surviving. Now we're getting members coming back and saying, I'm in. I'm working with you, shoulder to shoulder. Hallelujah. And that's the product that we're going to do it with is LHP. So if you really want to be able to exchange your Zcash and chips readily, learn how to promote the LHP portfolio. It's that simple. If you don't want to do that, then don't. But you're walking away from the most immediate way of controlling your own life, and that's the key. That's why I continue to say promote the purchase of LHP. You are not selling LHP because you don't get any money for selling it. Do you understand that? You're going to promote the purchase of it. And when somebody buys it, you get to exchange 25% of the value of their purchase in Zcash or chips to USD. So if you got $1 million of Zcash you want to exchange, excuse me, then go promote the purchase of $4 million of LHP. Then you've just exchanged all your Zcash to 1 million USD bank deposit funds. Then you can take the 1 million USD and exchange it for Australian dollars or any other currency you want. Now, how many big businesses out there do $1 million worth of products or services every month that they could definitely use LHP to their advantage? Well, if you haven't talked to them, how would they know? Because somebody else does it for you, then it becomes an investment. So you got to understand this is the process that you have to do. No one else can do it for you. So when you come to me and say, Gary, I want you to exchange my Zcash for chips, I'm going to say, well, how many people have you brought into the advertising privileges, walking billboard advertising? No one. How many people did you bring into the MyFuel Club? No one. How many people did you bring into this new opportunity? No one. Well, when you've done some work that I can justify making an exchange for you, come back and see me. Until that time comes, don't bother coming to see me. You got to be working. This is not an investment. All right? We don't want to be challenged again by the Securities and Exchange Commission ever. But if you do it for yourself, it's perfectly within the law. Does that make sense? So who am I going to promote this purchase of LHP to? Who's going to want to buy LHP? I had that question asked of me today by a lady that's on the webinar with me right now. With all the examples that are on the LHP, I would think just about anyone who will listen. That was my answer. And Ben says no. I've given you a whole list of examples, but the truth is no one ever buys something for my reasons, those examples. They buy it for their reasons. They're buying it to resolve a problem they have, because LHP can be tailor-made to any problem that they have. Let's look at what's by far the most powerful industry on the planet. Do you know what that is? And I was in it and I didn't know. I said, I can't say that it is. The insurance industry. Well, I was the vice president of Aflac Insurance Company of Canada for 8 years. I worked with them. I wasn't the VP for 8 years, but I worked with them and started as a sales rep and became the VP in my 6th year of being in business with them. So, insurance industry, what do they sell? This is amazing, and I did it. They're selling you a piece of paper with a promise attached to it, and you hope you never use that promise. I sold cancer insurance. I sold major illness and accident insurance. Nobody ever wants to use that stuff. Yet I sold enough of it that I'm still being paid this day, every month, from Aflac US. Isn't that amazing? They're selling you a piece of paper with a promise attached to it, and you hope you never use the promise. In other words, if you have a life insurance policy, do you want to collect on it? No. If you have a policy where you insure your shipments of goods, do you want to collect on it? No, because if I have to collect on it, it means I lost that shipment. I missed out on customers that were waiting. You buy it for the security. If you have a policy insuring your home, do you want to collect on it? No, I need a new house. I'm going to burn it down. Wow, what an inconvenience. So no, in other words, you're paying a monthly amount for this piece of paper and you hope you never use it. Wow. Farmers Insurance is one of the best insurance companies in the United States. And they started insuring farms, obviously, because they needed to protect themselves. And they've still got a good attitude. Well, when somebody buys LHP, they're going to buy it to solve a problem they have, not what you have. You can give examples, but then you say, well, what problems do you have? You buy insurance to solve a potential problem you may have, don't you? You buy LHP to solve a problem you already have. So this is even easier, really, when you think about it. You got to go and sell. Nobody needed cancer insurance in Canada. Did you know that? We've got socialized healthcare in Canada. So why would anybody ever need cancer insurance? Why would anybody ever need accident and disability insurance for major debilitating diseases? Nobody would ever need that. We've got socialized medicine. And yet I made over $100,000 a year starting my 2nd year in that business. Residual income compounded. I was making a couple $100,000 when I quit. Isn't that amazing? And yet we had socialized medicine. And yet we paid lots of claims. Why? Because when you were sick or injured, and your company would not pay your spouse to take time off work to be with you. And when you got something serious like a heart attack or cancer, I had 9 years of that my family went through. My mom took 9 years to die of cancer. And so when I saw this insurance program, I was in. It makes such good sense. Still does today. But having said that, to be successful in promoting LHP, it's not to sell LHP, but rather to identify the problems the business or the family already has, and then show them how LHP can solve their problems for pennies on the dollar, and they even get their pennies back. Isn't that amazing? You see, we need the seed capital to get it started, but you're going to get that money back. So if you spend $2,000, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, you know you're going to get that money back. What program out there does that? There's nothing on planet Earth as good as what we've got, folks. Absolutely nothing. Even this opportunity I'm going to share with you at the end of the call is not as good as this, but it's damn good. So we're going to do it too. So the real key is to find out what problem that they're facing. Like, I got to send my kids to college. Is college expensive these days? Or they may have a whole group of student loans that they have to pay off, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ask every doctor, are your student loans paid off? No, not yet. What if I could show you how to do that for pennies on the dollar and you get your pennies back? You see, there's the statement you got to learn to say. We'll show you how to solve that problem for pennies on the dollar and you get your pennies back. Wow. So let's take a look at this. I may have a mortgage to pay off. Can LHP solve that issue? That's exactly what this wonderful lady said to me. I got to get my property at 70 years of age, and I still owe money on my farm. I got to get my property paid off. So, one caveat. You see, for every dollar you spend on LHP, you're going to get $6 worth of Zcash. But that does you no good unless you exchange your Zcash and chips for USD bank deposit funds. So if I tell you, you know what, I have this Zcash already, and if you buy this LHP to where you can get some Zcash, you can be in the same position that I'm in right now, and you can go and promote LHP to other people. Well, that sounds good, but it also sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me, doesn't it? Well, I didn't think so, but Ben brought that up because he says people are going to think that that's a Ponzi, and it's not. And there are two things that keep this from being a Ponzi scheme. One is that we're not buying an investment, but rather buying and selling of a real world product. Computer software and videos. Yeah, they're obsolete. Doesn't matter. It's still a physical, real world product in a warehouse that the powers that be, the alphabet agencies, can go and visit and touch. Just because you wanted to buy it and it's obsolete, as soon as you buy it, you've got well, what a broken mess this is. Always something. Anyway, let's continue on, and let's show the screen again. All right, well, hopefully we haven't lost too many people, but let's get started back to where we are. So anyway, there are two things that keep it from being a Ponzi, as we were stating. One thing is that it's not the buying of an investment, but rather the buying and selling of a real world product, which we talked about. And the second is that when you're buying it and immediately selling it, you're getting lawful currency in exchange. So you've been paid right then. So it's not a Ponzi scheme. But somebody might say, well, how can I have a final takeout position to get back what I really want, which is the USD bank deposit funds? The answer is that you can either become or promote somebody else becoming a facilitator. And again, we've got the MOU there. You can read all about it. A facilitator is going to use funds that they own to go in and create some profits for themselves. And some of those profits they're going to use to exchange for Zcash that you have. That's your final takeout position. You don't ever have to do it, but you can do it. That also keeps it from being a Ponzi scheme. But then the question becomes, that's fine, but you know you're asking these facilitators to put up money, and they may not want to do that, don't you think? So there's an entity, Fetus, that is ready to put up some money on behalf of the facilitators. So if the facilitators want to get money, what he will do is to go to someone else we call a private lender, who has the contacts within the banking system to get the bank to do what the banks are supposed to do. Fetus provides the money through the facilitator to the private lender, who executes the protocol we've outlined in the MOU number 96 on the business opportunities. There's the link, go read it. And everything happens as it now is happening for those who are doing the protocol. We've got 10 financial institutions contracted to do this, with more coming every day. So at the end of the day, we're not asking people for their money, are we? And even when we do say buy LHP, they get their money back. So what are we really asking them to do is to put our money to work. Come and show us you've got the moxie and the spirit to get out there finding the people that can put our money to work. And if you'll go and put our money to work, then the money you want to see coming out of your Zcash and chips to USD bank deposit comes out to you. What a sweet deal. I don't know where you can go and take 500,000 Zcash in less than a year and turn it into $2 million just by finding a financial institution that would work with you. Well, it's going to get easier real soon. Stay tuned. So on one hand, you may be cynical and think that this is a Ponzi scheme, but with the review and study, you'll see that it's not, because of the immediate payment and the other points made above. And you can then take that currency through the facilitators and private lenders. You can use Fetus's money and trade US treasuries for profit and be in that final takeout position. Does that make sense? Now, here you are with 500,000 in Zcash. If you'll take them to the establish, if you will take the, I didn't realize I had that wrong. So if you'll take and establish your own Zcash and chips exchange facility, first by promoting LHP, that's where we start. Then second, by setting up with those people you're promoting LHP to create a member private lender relationship outlined in MOU 96, all of a sudden you're in a position to service all these people who have Zcash who don't know what to do with it. You think that could be a profitable business? Absolutely. You take their Zcash and you get the chips, which is 100% profit for doing the exchange for them. But you have to go set it up to make it happen. So find the contacts who will work with you to make this all happen. Does that put them into a situation that would be considered an investment? Well, it depends on their jurisdiction and how they do it. They can sell LHP of their own. No, I meant the people who bring their Zcash to be exchanged through this new exchange facility that's being created by whomever. Well, I said earlier, if you're going to come to my exchange facility, I want you to be promoting LHP, advertising privileges, and my Fuel Club, and this new tech program. And if you're not doing any of that, go find some other exchange facility. You got to be a part of the solution, my solution and your solution and the club solution. So if you've contracted with partners that are licensed within the industry, you can do this without any challenge. Or if you don't have that arrangement in place, you can sell them a product accepting Zcash and then buy it back with USD bank deposit funds. As long as you have a product in between, you are falling under commercial law, not financial law. That is why we have returned to LHP, as I fully expect. Now remember, LHP was out in 1995. It was a precursor to the Internet Catalog Club. Now I fully expect, as a matter of record, The state of New York is now trying to license anyone who's involved with digital currencies of any kind. So we're not going to need to go there. In our case, we're not exchanging a currency. We're just selling a product. You're selling it and taking payment from one form and buying it back, taking payment in another form. That's what LHP is all about. It's very profitable for all involved. Now, if you're a person who has lots of BVK, you can work with Brightstar Work Center to arrange to get all the Zcash you want. Ask them how. You can actually sell the person a product for Zcash and pay them back in USD if that's what you want to do. Many ways to tailor-make a solution for every problem you encounter. So the key here is the following. It's very much like the story of the two shoe salesmen that we heard earlier. One sent back, "This is horrible. Nobody here has shoes." The other sent back, "This is wonderful. No one here has shoes." People who always look at everything as problematic are not going to get anywhere ever. People who look at the problems that exist as opportunities to be solved with our solutions to do business and commerce, those are the ones who are going to make things happen. So we're looking to identify those movers and shakers, or those who want to become movers and shakers, that we can support to make this all happen for all of us. Now, they'll be the ones who will go out and talk to lots of businesses and companies and make something happen. Does that make sense? Is it hard work? Absolutely. Changing how people do things is not an easy task. They have to be darn good reason to want to change. And that, my friend, is where they need a big problem that we can solve together through LHP. The WIFM, what's in it for me, has to be real big in their mind. That's why we go and find what their problems are. How's your business doing? Well, it's doing pretty good. Have you got all the inventory you need, or could you use some more inventory? Well, I could always use more inventory, but I can't afford to pay for it. Aha! Problem. Light bulb goes off. Solution, LHP. If I could show you how for pennies on the dollar, you could buy all the inventory you need to expand your business and service your customers properly, and you could do it for pennies on the dollar and get your pennies back. Would you want more information? Well, I think so. Okay. So you as Brightstar, this has been talking to Gary and Eddie, are already well on your way to making all this happen. Now show others who are ready, willing, and able to do so to follow our lead. So that's exactly what we're doing. Now, a couple of days later, well, not even a couple of days later, Friday, I got a call from Ben, and I missed it. Saturday, I get a call from Ben, and I missed it. Sunday, I get a call from Ben. I missed it. Monday, I talked to Ben, and he said, last week I had a major aha moment. And so here it is. This just blew me away. This is, genius. In trying to help a member, he says, in solving a mortgage problem, it dawned on him that we weren't looking at things quite right. And this is the overview of this aha moment. At this point, at least in the USA, there's no question that Zcash and chips are recognized as lawful USD currency. Anyone who is questioning this can review all the documentation on the website validating digital currencies. The problem is that the banks in the USA don't have any way of dealing with digital currency. And the reason they don't have a way to do it is because every bank operates on a specific charter. And if the bank wants to do something different than what they are already doing, they have to amend their charter. This comes at great risk and downside. They would have to reapply, and the regulatory agency would shut them down and stop whatever it is that they're doing now, and they'd be audited to see if they qualify for the new direction they wish to take. How many banks are going to do that right now? None, absolutely. And that's why we've had so much resistance. Isn't that amazing? A whole year of all this resistance. We don't want your Whoppins. We don't want your IBOs. We don't want your BVK. We don't want your Zcash. We don't want your chips. Why? It's legal. It's lawful. I mean, we've had HSBC validate that our Whoppin and IBO combo are totally legal, totally lawful. And yes, we will take it. And they never did. Why? Because I guess they found out they're not chartered to take international bills of exchange. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just snowballing us. I could have used a different word. So the ways banks have gotten around that in the past is to arrange corresponding bank relationships with banks that are already doing what it is they want to be doing. So we don't do certain things, let's say trusts and asset management. So we go to a company that does, and we partner with them. That's how they get around it, through these correspondent banking relationships. So unless a bank was ready to go and start from scratch right now and be chartered specifically for digital currencies, they're not going to be able to do it. So the problem's not with Zcash or chips. It's legal, it's lawful. The problem's with the banks. They're just not going to do it. But we don't need them to do it. Look at the solution. Man, this just fell out of heaven. Hallelujah. What you do is you get an attorney. You have the attorney establish an ICC account and designate it as an IOLTA account. Now, an IOLTA account, go Google it, copy and paste it, stick it into Google, and read all the different definitions of an IOLTA account, but it's like an escrow account that pays interest. So what do? We deposit Zcash, probably just Zcash, into that ICC IOLTA account, which are cash funds. They're just not something the banks can deal with, as previously discussed. And so the attorney can now write a promissory note, and signing as an attorney, because they're an officer of the court based on the cash funds that he has in the IOLTA account, he can then take that promissory note to the bank for deposit. Oh, they won't take that. Of course they will. They take Federal Reserve notes. They take promissory notes every day of the week. And they can issue a CD or SKR against the promissory note on deposit. These can then be registered for CUSIP and ISIN numbers and then can be put into trading. And it doesn't mean that anyone's obligated to do this, but we've made it possible for everyone to do it that wants to do it. The good news is we already have our first one who's willing to do it. Isn't this amazing? We already have in our what we already have is our brokerage account, and the people who used to handle that account for us used to be with our first wealth management group, and now they handle that account for us, but they're doing it out of a credit union. One of them is the managing director of the credit union, and the other is the trader for the credit union. So they're very anxious to work with us. The credit union is saying that, in theory, everything outlined should work, and that it's a very doable thing. So the credit union is in Texas and can receive Texans, and you can go open an account with the credit union. We can work with the attorney to set up his or her IOLTA account, funded with Zcash. The attorney writes the promissory note and deposits it into the account of the Texan who opened up the CU credit union account. The credit union issues a CD. They take it to the wealth management group, and they start trading. Now, Ben said to me that if it wasn't for Thanksgiving, this would have been implemented today, and it's going to take till next week because the credit union's closed down, okay, for the holiday. So how powerful is that? Now, the amazing thing is once we've got this first one done, how many attorneys out there would like to find a better way to make money? I partner with them. Don't pay them. Say, look, I'll show you how to do this. You'll use your legal office and your bar license to create the IOLTA account, and you'll put all the stuff together and legitimize it, and we'll share the profits. We get 100% on every exchange. So I'll give you 50%. I'll give you 60%. I'll give you 40%. It's called negotiate. You're in business. So, do you know an attorney or a lawyer, a bar attorney anywhere on the planet? There's a gazillion of them out there. Will you contact them to discuss the above solution for you? Maybe yes, maybe no. Do they have IOLTA account capabilities? Well, just ask them. Do you have an IOLTA account? What's an IOLTA account? Next. Do you know anybody that knows anything about an IOLTA account? Go look it up. Jeez, they'll know about it. Do they have a relationship with a bank or credit union? Do you? Can you see yourself making contact with these people to see if you could put this together for yourself to create your very own Zcash chips to USD Bank Deposit Funds Exchange Facility? Remember, if it is to be, it is up to me. So Gary and Eddie are doing this. Eddie's in Texas. Hallelujah. I said, how soon can Eddie get to the credit union to set up his account? He said, well, wait till next week to make sure we got everything with no unforeseen issues. All right? So it remains to be implemented, but everything discussed up to this point has the green light, and they're just waiting to make sure that the contracts go into place, and we'll be set to rock and roll, and we'll have that go to trade pretty darn quick. And once that one's gone to trade, I wonder how many more Texans would like to become surrogates to set up IOLTA accounts with attorneys. Got to be in Texas to use this credit union. But does that mean you can't do it in Alabama, or you can't do it in Oregon, or you can't do it in Washington or California? You can do this anywhere in the world. I'm telling you, folks, this is exciting. All right. Well, Warren contacted me via email and said, I just want to pass this by and get your impression. And so I looked at the email, and it had this company that's been around for 3 years. They're already in 100 countries. They have 300,000 direct selling reps. It's a multi-level company. And 300,000 reps in 3 years. And they already have 7 people that have earned millions. And they're listed in the Direct Sellers Hall of Fame. And they offer 2 different cell phones, a tablet, and a new wearable computer. They offer unlimited VoIP connectivity. You get a SIM card for your phone. 100 countries, $45 a month. For a little more money, you can have a cell line. It's already its own Wi-Fi hotspot. And this wearable technology is going to take the world by storm. It is a computer the size of a pack of cards, 2.5 inches. And you can put it into your purse, you can put it into your pocket, and you view it through glasses. A 40-inch screen is what you see inside a house. If you go and look outside, it goes to 420 inches. It's got high definition, it's got surround sound, all with a pair of glasses. And the glasses can be prescription. I'm telling you, folks, this thing is going to go gangbusters, and it pays daily. Now, I'd like for you to get back to the person who sponsored you into my Fuel Club or the Internet Catalog Club with Brightstar Work Center, and I'd like you to urge them to get in touch with me so that they can get my link to be able to sign up with this new company. It's going to open for business in North America starting December 2nd through to December 6th. Are you having a great big convention in Dubai? And at this convention, they're going to sell 5,000 of these space computers. And so there'll be 5,000 people wandering around on the streets wearing this computer in the form of glasses in this little computer, and it's 4G technology. It's everything that everybody would ever want in a cell phone, in a webinar system, conference system, computer system, all in one place, and you can pack it up in your pocket. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's going to change the world. It's patented. They're the only game in town. So Sony and Samsung and all these big companies don't have this technology. And you and I can have it, and we can clean their clock. And the other thing is it does streaming video and movies, and 100 countries, already in 100 countries. And so then they're opening up North America, Canada, and the United States, and they'll be doing Central and South America. I think they had their convention last spring here in the Dominican Republic, so I'm hoping it's open here. But they have 7 languages on the website already. So I'm telling you, these guys are sharp, fully funded, don't owe anybody anything, got their own research and development. All of the stuff that they're selling, they made. They have their own manufacturing in China. And so it's all in place. So get back to the person who invited you. If they won't speak to you about it, and they don't want anything to do with it, contact me directly and send me a Skype, and I'll get you an email with all the information. I won't be able to sign up today. I tried to sign up yesterday and the day before, but there's a problem with where I'm at physically. I'm signing up as a Canadian here in the Dominican Republic, and when I try and create my password, it was asking for Spanish characters. Don't even know what a Spanish character is, other than I know I'm not one. But anyway, we'll get that resolved tomorrow, and I'll have my link, and you guys can sign up. And the beautiful part is you can sign up for $50, and it's an annual fee, $49.95. and you can buy some packages. The best package to buy, I'm told, is $299. So you might want to consider, instead of going and buying something for Christmas for the family, go ahead and buy yourself a new tablet, buy this system, and make a ton of money. Why would you go and pay for your cell phone and your cable when you can be paid to represent it? I mean, I wanted to get into Solvay. I didn't have a U.S. Social Security number, so I couldn't join. I actually joined and they kicked me out. I think Solvay is a good program, but this blows it away. Absolutely blows it away. So we are going to literally see this thing explode. Now, due to their policies and procedures, I can't name the name on this call, and I won't. And I can't promote the program at the same time that I'm promoting ICC and my fuel club. So you've got to keep them separate businesses to meet and exceed the policies and procedures. So this is the only time I'm going to tell people about it. And so the first few people that get in, they're going to be telling their friends, they're going to be telling their friends, it's going to go like wildfire. I mean, it launches next week, and we can all be in there right at the very beginning of something that's going to literally change the world. It really is. This new space computer, you've got to see the video. It's absolutely amazing. How much does it cost? Don't know. Probably a couple of $1,000s, but that's chump change compared to what it does. Might even cost $3,000 or $4,000. Don't know. Don't care. People will buy it. If you're going to buy an iPhone for $500-600 or $1,000, are you nuts? Anyway, thank you so much for being here with me on Thanksgiving Day, USA. And for those of you that are hearing the recording, I hope you'll get in touch with the person who invited you. Have them get in touch with me, or get up the upline and say, okay, everybody get the information from Gary. Let's get signed up on this new program. At least get the information. See it, then say no, but don't say no until you've seen it, because ignorance is not bliss. God bless you all. Thanks for being with me today, and we look forward to seeing you next week.